of this week's daily workout. Really excited. I'm joining you from sunny South Africa. My name is Vanessa Raath, and I'm one of the coaches in the recruiting gym. And today I am joined by Richard. Now, Richard, before you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're here to join us for Podcast Week, tell us what time it is with you.
It is 4 a.m., Vanessa. So
you're such a star.
I'm up here bright and early, ready to rock and roll with you guys.
You're amazing. Okay, Richard, fantastic. So first of all, big thanks from myself. So this is Podcast Week. I'm interviewing people who run recruiting podcasts. I was recently a guest on your podcast, The Recruiting Shark. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came up with the name The Recruiting Shark, which I love.
You guys are going to love this. So right off the bat, I'm the most energetic person you ever meet in your life across the whole country. Seriously, I just love life. But you know what? I think about 4 years ago, Vanessa, I just decided that, Richard Rosner was the recruiter. I wanted to make myself a brand and build myself a brand. So I'm sitting on the beach one day. Can't make this up. You guys will love this real quick. I'm drinking some Land Shark beer, looking at the ocean. And I'm like, okay, I got to get something that rhymes with staffing. And I'm thinking, okay, a shark's always on a hunt, never sleeps. And before you know it, there it is, staffing shark. And then I bring the beach vibe. If anybody knows me, I usually wear flip-flops, jeans, shark necklace. That is me to the industry, bringing hope and beach vibes.
Fantastic. That is really awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, have you been in the industry for a long time? Give us like your 1 minute intro.
No, I've only been in the industry for, believe it or not, 9 years. And I built my brand about 4 years ago. Worked for the other staffing firms. So you know how it is. I've worked for the big dogs, the small ones and stuff like that. I come from a criminal justice background, used to be a probation officer. So for 10 years, I used to work for the state of Pennsylvania. And then I just fell in, like everybody does, you fall into staffing. A recruiter calls you and says, hey. So I started my career in New York City, working for the MTA, the subway system for technology. And then 9 years later, 9.5 years later, here I am right now, enjoying it. And I love it. I have to tell everybody that this is a passion. It's a lifestyle. And that's me. I eat and sleep staffing and recruiting 24/7.
That's amazing. Like probation officer to recruiter. I suppose there's quite a few similarities if you're honest,
You know what? It is. It is. I tell people all the time. I'm like a social service person with them. That's why I connect with them so well, because I can see the other side of the candidate too.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant, Richard. Fantastic. So tell us, your podcast. Tell us why you started a podcast in the first place. What was your thinking?
My thinking was, okay, so about 3.5 years ago, I'm thinking, okay, video is the king. One of the people I follow all the time is Gary Vee. Everybody knows who Gary Vee is, of course. Yeah. And when I'm studying his content, he was like, video is where it needs to be at. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to launch a podcast here in the beginning. And I wanted to make a podcast a little bit different, Vanessa. I didn't want it just to be about myself. I wanted to be, to build a brand. I wanted to be about everybody else. And that's what my podcast is now. It's to make everybody else shine. So I decided that, you know what, to build your brand, to build respect in the community for leads and everything like that, you got to be on a show. And that's where I created my staffing influencer channel now, which is almost like, I have the show, it's almost like MTV. It's going to be in 2024 where we're going to have different shows for different people. So they have one source to go to. And that's what it's about. It's about bringing other people together.
And so tell me, how many episodes are you on? How many have you recorded?
Okay, on the one, my flagship recruiting, Recruiters with No Limits, is 90 episodes. 90 episodes and 123 different guests. We've only had same guest on twice. That was it. So
that's amazing.
Across the whole world. We bring everybody on from Canada to, across the pond to everything. So, we don't. You're right. Yes, that's exactly right. And then we have exciting real quick. We have one called Behind the Book, where I go with authors in the industry and make them shine with their book and everything like that. So as you can see, Vanessa, I'm all about giving to everybody else. And that's what it's about. One thing I got to tell everybody, you're going to love this, is I never record anything. Everything is live. Because, hey, at the end of the day, if you're going to swear or something like that, we're going to have fun with it. At the end of the day, recruiting's live, staffing's live. Why can't we have our podcast live? So that is my trademark in the industry, that everything you get on my show is live. Everybody's like, are you pre-recording this? I'm like, no, we're live all the time.
Brilliant. So you can't go back and edit. I think that makes quite a few people nervous, but I much prefer it because else you're just creating more work for yourself. I mean, why not go outside?
Exactly. You know what? If
You
you
just
have to
know
go to the
what you're going to
bathroom in the
say.
middle of a podcast, I joke with them. I've had guests on there where their cat was on their shoulder, the pictures in the back of their office dropped, they fell. I mean, it was the comical
Yeah.
stuff that goes on is part of, I think, the podcast. We have to
Part of
be
life,
more
isn't
just
it?
ourselves. Be real.
Exactly. So where's your main platform? So what's your frequency of your podcast? How often do you put
Ooh,
it out, and where do you put it?
Yes, I love the YouTube. YouTube is one of my platforms. LinkedIn is
Me
another
too.
platform, but I'm a firm believer in social media. I like all platforms. It's on
Okay.
Insta. I put it on TikTok. Facebook, of course, is a great one too. So I mean, and even Twitch. So I just say that. I mean, I think if you're going to do a podcast, I tell everybody hit all the social platforms because there's so many different candidates on every one that you might hit.
And now, from a tech perspective, what tool do you use to broadcast live across all of the platforms?
The one that I love and I endorse all the time is StreamYard. StreamYard is
Okay.
the one that I love, and I can do up to 8 live streams at one time there, and then we'll do on demands too. So it's nice because I always ask people at the end, if you're a guest on my show, you can watch it on demand anytime you want, and you can share it too. So I think that's the biggest thing
Excellent.
in the podcasting world is you want your guest to be like when they're off the show, and you were on my show, that it's like,
Yes.
wow, it's like a talk show. You have fun with it. They got to learn.
Yes.
And then their audience, they can share that with their audience. It grows, everybody grows together. And I think that's what we need to do in the podcast world.
And how frequently do you record an episode, or when do you go live? Is it a set day of the week, set time, or how does it
Usually
work?
Wednesday at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, but coming up in
Okay.
December, I have like 15, 16 podcasts. So I have a lot of people at the end of the year. It's going to be coming on. So I definitely check it out. I mean, we have I also review staffing software. So that's going to be great. We have about 6 episodes for that coming up in December to review ATSs and different things like that.
Oh, wow. So you're going to be busy. Hey, that's podcast
I
mode.
am going to be a busy bee, tell you, Vanessa. A lot of coffee or maybe a drink. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, maybe it'll be in a normal time zone for you. That will be a pleasure, right?
Exactly.
Excellent. And do you do all of your recording just from an office or from home, or do you have a studio with?
I have a
the amount of
studio
pod-
in my house here. Yes. So I have a studio here. I do everything pretty much here. I also do some stuff live on the streets too. So I like to be interviewing people on the streets and stuff like that. So that'll be coming in 2024. More clips of me getting the average person on the street, talking about jobs, what they see in the market and stuff like that. I want to
Okay.
get that to get everybody in the community involved. That's especially in my area right here. That's what I do. I do a lot of podcasting in the community too. Restaurants and all that stuff to highlight them on a different avenue.
So when do you get time to actually do your day job, or are you just a professional podcaster now, Richard? What's the deal?
Oh, well, you know what? You might have opened up a can of worms there, but no, it's great. Actually, I got sponsored by Advanced Partners as one of my big sponsors now, working on about 3 more. So we are launching in 2024 the Staffing Influencer channel, which is going to be, like I just described, almost like the MTV version of the recruiting staffing industry. And we're going to probably have about 12 different shows on there. There might be even one called Yo Recruiting Raps or something like that.
Wow.
So
Wow. Okay. Yeah. ChatGPT is great at writing raps.
exactly. So we're gonna have fun with it, but I'm trying to get something for everybody. I don't want it to be stale, and I want to be that one in the forefront where we have co-hosts on from all over the world, and we bring the knowledge there so they can just tune in and say, "Hey, this is something we want." And one thing I will say is, anybody out there listening, if there's anything that you want on a podcast, let me know. I'll find it and put it on, Vanessa, just like you do. I want to serve the audience. That's what.
But that's also nice that you can have different streams. You have your one main podcast and then different streams, because you can use those to appeal to a different audience. We just got a quick question talking of the audience. Angela, who's actually the MD of the recruiting gym, wants to know what is the time where you are at the moment.
I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So if you know the Steelers, the terrible towel, that's me.
And what's the time?
Crazies here.
What's the time, Richard?
It is 4 o'clock. 4 a.m.
There we go. That's
4
dedication
a.m.
for a guest on the daily workout, isn't it? Okay, so Richard, so now you've got this plan in place. You've been podcasting. What year did you start podcasting?
I've only started podcasting 2.5 years ago, believe it or not.
2.5 years ago.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You've got up to 90 episodes. You've got big plans. You've got different streams. Why? What is your kind of thinking behind this? Like, why the podcast? Why do you keep doing it? Is it bringing you business? How do you find a podcast helps you in the recruiting industry?
I think, you know what, to be honest with you, it brings everything. Mental health, first off, I'm sure you know the same thing. I get excited when I'm on a podcast, just
Yeah.
like tonight. I mean, this
Get to
morning
meet
here,
people.
like I was
Yeah.
excited to sleep a couple hours and jump on with you. It's like, so that's a positive thing. I think three things that I talk about a podcast, you know, it's
Yep.
passion, purpose, people, the three P's.
Mhm.
So if you have that, and the last one's the people. So, but it brings me a lot of business, believe it or not. Like so many speaking engagements. Since I've done the podcast, I've spoke
Yep.
at 32 different gigs
Wow.
across the country. So, and even in Canada. So that podcast has brought me so many eyes on it.
Okay.
And what's amazing, Vanessa, I wouldn't even know that people logged in and then they see me to shows. I seen your one episode, and they would even name the episode, almost like you're at Seinfeld or something. Like that episode, you had that one, you know, guest on, and that's what makes an impact and makes us do it better and better every day. Because when I get feedback from people like that, that's what it's all about.
So when people start like approaching you in the supermarket, at your local supermarket and things like that, then you know that you're famous, because then you completely
You're right. And you guys are going to love this. I have a QR code. When I go to the gym, there's QR codes on the back of my shirt. Job attack, get hired by the shark. So they can scan me and get a job right when I'm walking. I'm a walking billboard 24/7.
No ways. That is brilliant.
And nobody knows my name in my town, Vanessa. They all know me as a shark. Nobody cares about Richard Rosner. Every time I go out to the restaurant, they're like, hey, shark, how you doing?
Fantastic. That is brilliant. Okay, so let's have a look. 2024 is coming up. You and I have been talking about doing something together. So
Yes.
tell me, what are you thinking? Where do you think you're going to be going? Is it going to be more podcasting focused, more recruiting? What's your heart telling you?
My whole goal in 2024 is I still love the recruit. Don't get me wrong, but I'm going to put my feet off a little bit on that. I'm going to the media side. So like I said,
Okay.
it's going to be the media side. It's going to be bringing more guests on, more video, more blogging. I want to be the forefront and my platform for 2024 with assistance from you and all my other friends that, you know, I want to have this big family where in 2024, we just put all this video knowledge out there and audio knowledge for everybody else to grab.
Fantastic. Excellent. So Richard, so what are your plans now? We're gonna wrap this up. It's gonna be 4:15 in the morning. How do you go back to sleep after all this energy that you have? What are you going to do?
You know what's funny is you guys are going to laugh at this. When I hit the bed, it's like an Energizer bunny. I pass out. And then as soon as I get back up, I'm like a jackrabbit. I'm ready to go again. So it's, but I will get 4 hours sleep probably. And then I'll jump back up and I have a busy day coming ahead, you know, but I look forward to that. You know, in our business, it's about people. I enjoy talking to people in person, conferences and everything. And I think the biggest thing I can wrap it up with is just be you, be different is the biggest thing I say. Just be you. You know, there's no judgment in anything. There's never a wrong way to do a podcast. Just get out there and put the content out there.
Exactly. You're just going to be brave enough to take that step home. One of my favorite sayings is be you because everyone else is taken. And I just think that it's so relevant. You know, you've got to put your own twist on everything that you do in life. But Richard, seriously, sincerely thank you. 4:00 in the morning for being my guest. I appreciate it. Guys, we're wrapping up today, but tomorrow I have Marcus Edwards from Recruiting Trailblazers. I don't know if you know him, Richard. He's based out of California, San Diego side. So that is a recorded session. And then on Friday, we have Leanne Mackinson joining us, and she is based in the UK. So that's a live session. So excellent. I'm looking forward to the rest of the week. Richard, thanks again. Stay in touch. Let's chat. Let's get some plans going for 2024. And thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Sounds good. Thank you, everybody. Take care, everybody.
Excellent.